Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome to another edition of eHeroes. Now, I know a lot of people have been emotionally, physically, and financially affected by COVID, and it's kind of gotten us down. So, I actually brought on Krista Inochovsky. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
And she's going to help us kind of ignite our desire back on fire. So, welcome and thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. My pleasure. It's always great to have an opportunity to open up conversation, see where things go, encourage entrepreneurs and people in general. I think encouragement is a big part of what people need right now, and a reminder of there's so much out there, and we got to keep that forward thinking, keep the vision going, and also really get tapped into who we are.
A lot of entrepreneurs have reached out to me over the last year and they've said, hey, what can we do? I need this, magic bullet, this magic marketing piece that's going to help me. And every time I say something, they're like, well, no, I've already done that. I've tried that. All right, try it again. And they're so beaten down right now that the government's telling them they can't open. Their friends aren't supporting them, and they're losing money massively. And so, how do we help these entrepreneurs? They had this passion at one time. They've had that fire lit under them. How do we kind of get them to move again?
Yeah, you're so right. The state of the world has really beaten us down and kept us, I feel, really contracted. It's like stay home, stay small, don't go anywhere, be afraid. And whether we really recognize it or not, it limits our thinking, our dreaming. Just like you mentioned, people started with these big dreams, and then to have them, to no fault of their own, diminished. It's really about going inward. So you were saying, Rob, that people are asking you about, like, well, what's the next marketing strategy? What tactic can I use? And I look at entrepreneurship in kind of two different, like the top down and then this bottom half. So we've got the tactics and the strategies and the productivity and all these different elements of what do we do and how do we do it. But there's this whole other component, which is down here within you. And that's the who you are and how you show up and what you believe about yourself and about the world. It's the inner work. And it can be really, I would say easy, but it's easier to look at the tactics or look at the next Facebook marketing strategy to use, instead of pausing and getting real about who you are from the inside. But that's the piece that most everyone is missing and needs to dive in deeper than ever right now. And that's where I work.
Well, and the whole getting real thing is everybody knows that if you look at my shirt, it says I speak fluent sarcasm. And, a lot of my last books, the whole Rob versus series, I mean, there's four of them now, but it's all sarcasm. And all the books I wrote before that were not sarcasm. And people either get sarcasm or they don't get sarcasm. And I started unleashing my sarcasm on the world a couple of years ago. And more people would gravitate towards me now, and they're like, we want to hire you because you're real and you're raw and you're doing things that are contrary to what other people are doing. And even though I wrote brilliant books before the whole Rob versus series, I wasn't getting a lot. I mean, I was getting jobs, but not a lot of big paying jobs. It wasn't until the whole Rob versus series came out, people were like, this is incredible, you're just going against the whole grain and then you're just upsetting everybody. I was like, okay.
I love that. I think it's really important that we keep it real, that we have a sense of humor. I think that's the other thing that's happened over the last couple of years is things have gotten so serious, and or too many people are so highly offended that it makes it almost impossible to crack a joke without highly offending someone. And yoga is one of the things that I teach as just one of the tools that I do. And I've been teaching yoga for years.
Mm-hmm.
And people haven't taken my class before, I'll make jokes in the middle. At least they're funny to me. I make light of it. I'm like, if you can't laugh at yourself, like there's nothing, it shouldn't be serious. Like you need to be able to go with it. And if you fall over or you're struggling or, whatever it is, it's you have to find light in all areas of life. So I love that you're adding that.
Well, and I think one of the biggest harmful things that people do is they look at the reviews that they get online, and they might have hundreds of positive reviews, and then they dwell on that one negative review, and then they it just makes them freeze up. And then they don't do anything for days and days. They're worried over one person's opinion.
Yeah, that's how limiting beliefs get implanted. And most of them are things that happened to us as a kid, right? So those are the ones that are really held true. A teacher said you weren't good at math, or your big brother or big sister said a comment, or you were compared, whatever that was. Those are these underlying beliefs that I work with people to recognize, have an awareness of, and break, so we can create new empowering beliefs. It's these things that we don't necessarily even remember from childhood that are the block that's holding us from the success of actually showing up, getting more visible, whatever that is. And just like you're saying, Rob, in today, getting the bad review, now it's really in your face. It's like right there. So part of the work that I do is building that internal self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get really, really true to who you are, then you become this like feeling unstoppable. You're like, that's my truth. And I'm doing what's aligned with my message and who I am. I meant no harm. And if somebody else is interpreting that a different way, that's on them. Yeah. And you can really start to recognize when comments are coming in are their own internal story, and they just happen to be shooting it my way, but I'm not going to let it in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned unstoppable, and 25 years ago when I first became an entrepreneur, I'll be 52 this year, but I just thought I was more invincible. I would take risks, and now that I've gotten older, although I do take risks, they're more controlled, they're more focused. I think that's a lot of entrepreneurs have looked at COVID as one of these things where, oh my God, I just can't take the risk anymore. I've lost so much money, or I've lost my employees, or I'm starting over. And, that whole unstoppable message, they need to kind of just refocus. And I think it's very hard for people.
It really is. And the reason I came up with this new masterclass that I'm doing that's called Ignite Your Desire on Fire is it's just for that reason exactly. Desire, or true desire, in the definition that I give, which is also in lines with Napoleon Hill's definition of desire. It's this fiery, burning desire with emotion and vision, like a vivid vision of what it is that you're going after. It's way richer and more emotionally charged than a want. Mm-hmm. And a desire, the more in tune you are with your desire, that's going to be what pulls you forward when things get tough, which they are, and when things don't go well. If you're not that connected, if you don't have this burning desire for where you're headed, then it makes it way easier to go, well, I guess it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Let's blame this or blame that. And none of it's easy. I am not belittling any of this. I mean, these are hard things. But if you're looking for that power to move forward, it's about igniting that desire. And that's what I'm doing in my class, is helping people fire up and ignite that desire so it's active within them. And the more active that is, that's the fuel that pulls us forward into the future and gets us okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. This is just a blip. I know where I'm going. I know why. And to keep pressing forward.
Yeah. And it's not just, you snap your finger and you're taking action. It's these little consistent things that you're doing every single day that will help keep that desire burning. And I've noticed a lot of people, especially in the podcasting space, this is, for those that are keeping count, this is episode 145. And I've been doing this for many, many years. Well, I noticed a lot of people they'll say, well, Rob, that looks very easy. You make it look so great. I'm going to start my own podcast. They'll get to episode 1, 2, 3, and then stop.
They're like, where are all my followers? Where are all the views? Where are all the listens?
Yeah. And I'm not one of those people that dwells on analytics. I don't look at all the, how many downloads I got. What I do is I look at the people who are responding to the video, who have taken action, who said, Rob, I love the message. I love the guests. Those are the ones that I gauge the success of what I'm doing. Because analytics to me is just bells and whistles that don't really tell me anything.
Yeah, if your goal is to impact one person a day,
Right.
for example, and you get out there and you're doing the work. Like you said, it's not about numbers and analytics, but knowing that somebody really was able to take to heart and make a change or have a new belief in themselves to move forward. And that's where we all are able to make a difference if we just look at helping impact one person at a time.
Now, where did you come up with some of the ideas? I mean, have you always been this type of person who wants to help somebody?
I actually had a really long career as a professional dancer, MC, doing commercials and print work, which is you saw on my resume that I worked for Disney. I've done a lot of different, been kind of the face of Disney and a lot of ads, and as well as a performer dancing on Cinderella's Castle and many other things. So I really believe it's my training as a performer and my love for just making people happy.
Yeah.
I mean, good grief. I was on Cinderella's Castle, the happiest place on earth, doing these amazing shows day after day, and people just light up. And I got to say, that's a really awesome feeling. It connects with who I am to bring out joy in other people and let them see this new possibility or break away from the things that are troubling them. And I think that's the connection that led me into being a certified life coach and doing this type of work.
Yeah, and a lot of the I don't say rules, but the keys that Disney instills on people is just phenomenal. I mean, they
Mhm.
take this, they take the life lessons they've learned at Disney into businesses, and it's just phenomenal. I've interviewed so many wonderful people that have worked at Disney, and they all come out, they have, their coaches, or they're doing all this phenomenal stuff, and it's amazing because, you know Disney is one of my favorite places to go, and as I've told you off air that, we've been going there, many times a year, and people still ask me, like, Rob, you're like 52 years old, why do you want to go to a place that's for kids? I said, yeah, but it makes me feel magical every time I'm there. It's just.
Yeah, they say it's the place where dreams come true. That's one of their taglines. And I think and that's the work that I do. It's like never stop dreaming.
Yeah.
We have to keep, especially entrepreneurs, I feel like it's our responsibility to be the big dreamers and the big thinkers and know how to fuel that with desire so we can keep moving forward. We can't let the state of the world contract all of us
Right.
and kind of like, oh, okay, entrepreneurs, you got the hardest of it. Let's just keep the big boxes moving. No, we have to, I'm gonna get a little woo-woo, but like we have to energetically be stronger than all of that.
Yeah.
And that's where I love helping other people reignite that spark within them and go, okay, man, I need a little bit of help here. I need a little support to remember why I'm doing this and how to do it.
Yeah.
And then once we have that inner light begins to radiate, and if we can move from our own inner light as our fuel and not out of struggle and not out of I have to, and not out of I have to pay the bills or stick it to the man or whatever negative expression, when it really comes from within, then we're guided, we're in flow, the right people show up on our lives,
Mhm.
the right people we're meant to help and serve show up. It's a more magical, beautiful experience.
Right. One of the things that Disney has taught me over the years is, and it is a magical place, and it does help kind of re-engage what I'm doing, and I've learned a lot of ideas off Disney, but the biggest thing is patience, because I
Mm.
go there and the lines are long. We want to get on our favorite rides, and we're standing in line. We got to, and so I talk to people. I talk to people all the time, and my kids and my wife are like, "Stop. Why are you talking to them? You don't know them." But I strike up conversations with everybody because I want to know where they came from, what they're doing, how they're doing it, and it's that, if I just stand there and do nothing, I'm not going to get anything out of it. But you take that patience for being in a line or creating conversations, and you take it into the real world, and you're always going to have success.
These little connection points that keep us human,
Yeah.
they keep us alert and alive and curious what other people are doing.
Mhm.
I love that you strike up conversations.
Well, and the funny thing is, I was standing in line to, I think it was Pirates of the Caribbean, and I was having a conversation with someone, and they asked me what I did, and I told them, and then they went to their phone and went to my website, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to bookmark this." They contacted me after I came home, and became a client.
Oh my gosh, how great is
So it's
that?
like this is great. But I've gotten so many calls while I'm at Disney. Hey, can you help me? I'm on vacation. I'm at Disney. Wow, really? And they're like, well, I need this help, and I'm like, okay, I'm on my phone. I'm in line. Helped them out, and it's incredible because every time I go on vacation, especially the Disney, I pick up another client, which is crazy.
Well, you know what? You're in alignment with what makes you happy. You're in the zone. You're enjoying time with your family. And I think that just creates, speaking of family,
Yeah.
homeschool my daughter. It just keeps us in the zone of, hey, I love what I'm doing. And that creates more, more connection.
Yeah. So what was your favorite element working with Disney?
Oh gosh. Well, I will say one kind of cool thing. So my daughter Farah, who just passed by, she's 14 now. We did a photo shoot for Disney when you were, how old were you? 6? Maybe 5. She still had baby teeth. We did actually my son was there too. We did a whole big long photo shoot, but there's this one picture at the Disney parade, and I'm holding her and she's doing like a little catching the snow thing. And Disney has used it every single Christmas since then.
Wow.
So every year I have friends be like, it's, my annual pass holder. I just got my new pass holder and there's your picture. Oh, I'm on the website. Oh, I'm on the app. Oh, and so that's really cool. And it's kind of funny because they take a zillion pictures that they can use, but this one picture shows up every single year for the last like 8 years.
Wow. That is so cool.
Good. I don't get paid anymore. that would have been really great.
Yeah. Well,
I can at least be honored.
Yeah.
To like it.
So let's talk about your website. And I know that you're revamping it, but the information on that is so awesome.
Oh, thank you.
And I think that everybody that goes to it is still going to benefit. And so we can talk about the website. We can talk about the course. So let's you did some things and now you're evolving, which is great. Mm-hmm. Every entrepreneur out there needs to evolve into the next phase. So how did that happen?
I think it's getting present to what people need right now.
Right.
And I do the work for myself. That's been a lifesaver. I've had a huge life transition 2.5 years ago, and I'm a single mom of 2 teenagers, and preparing for that, going through that, the aftermath, the rediscovering who I am and how I want to be in the world and what I want to lead. Doing the work that I teach is what saved me. Mm-hmm. Having a deep personal growth and not of mindfulness, but like this a deep mind practice of who I am, self-love, meditation, yoga, self-expression, tapping into authenticity and sharing that with other people. And so just listening to what the world needs right now, that's where the Ignite Your Desire on Fire came from. Mm-hmm. It's there. We have desires, but the world isn't flaming them at the moment. Right. So if I can help do that. And then from there, I lead people into the Ignite Your Abundance 40-day journey.
Wow.
And that I've created specifically because mindfulness, best self, how to get out ahead of it, law of attraction, all these things are very popular topics as they have been for years. And we're good at reading the books and listening to podcasts on the idea of it, but the analytical mind is very different than actually doing the work. And right. Not many people know, well, what does it look like to do this in my own life? Right. So I've created the 40-day journey, which is a journal that's going to help people over 40 days have their own self-practice along with live coaching with me. So we can talk about it all day long, but until you carve out that quiet time for yourself and know what to do during that time and being patient and creating a process, that's when transformation will happen.
Yeah.
But it won't happen just by reading the books.
For me, my quiet place, the place where I like to think the most, is not in the office. It's not in the home. It's not even in my garage, which we turned into a gym for the kids. It's outside mowing the lawn. And people are like, well, Rob, that's kind of dumb. I said, well, I'm by myself. I'm walking around. I got my headphones on, jamming to my 80s music. And that's where I think the most. And so a lot of times, I'll be listening to my favorite bands are Queen and Weird Al and Huey Lewis, and a song will come on which will just kind of ignite that spark. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And I'll stop, write it in my notes on my phone, continue to go. And when I'm done, I'll take those notes back and kind of create some marketing out of it. And for me, that's my escape, my quiet place. For others, it could be yoga. Now, I know a lot of people are into yoga. For me, I probably break my back and my arms, and I can't get twisted like that.
Yes. Yeah. I like to introduce different things. I just call them tools. Like you know how to this and this and this. And the more you develop a toolbox, then each morning or as you need something, you go, it's not that you're following somebody else's agenda or somebody else's schedule. It's saying, oh, what do I need today? Oh, I need to put on a guided meditation and listen to somebody else guide me. Oh, I want to go out in nature and sit and just be quiet. Oh, I need to do yoga that's just real chill. Oh no, I need to do something that's going to get my heart rate up. But as you start to learn what your different tools are, then you have the resources and you can tap into what your body needs. Instinctively.
I like how you use the word toolbox, because I use the word toolbox in marketing all the time. I always say your marketing toolbox, all the marketing tools into this toolbox. So now you got your marketing toolbox, you got your desire toolbox, you got all, and it's great because if you can compartmentalize all these things and say, well, this is where things are, I can go right to that, take it out of the toolbox, use it, and it makes things easier. But we live in a complicated world, and so I've been trying to get people to think stupidly, stupidly simple. And
Simple,
it's
stupid.
not that I'm trying to insult them. It's just they've overcomplicated their lives with funnels and this and that, and like, people, make it easier for yourself. It's too much. Now you're getting now you're getting confused on what you're supposed to do.
And here's the big problem with that, Rob. Just what you're saying is when we get in the energy of now we're struggling, now we're confused, now we're overwhelmed, now we're stressed out, now we don't know if we spent money in the right place, we're doing the right thing at the right time. That's not the energy to create.
Right.
That's not the energy for innovation. That's not the energy to show up for your clients. Now you're so off track.
Yeah.
And that's why the solution is me.
Mhm.
That's why the solution is what I teach is bringing people back to themselves. The solution to that problem is not the next right marketing strategy or business course. You got to get back to you and get your energy right. Meaning, come to a place where you have, I call them high flying emotions, feeling good. There's a frequency and an energy, just like you're talking about music. Music has a frequency, so does the way we think and feel. And spending your time getting that elevated so that you're open and your mind is in creativity mode, it's in innovation mode, it's in, yes, I can do this. Yes, I'm connected to my clients. Then go back to figuring out what you need to do. But don't do it from a place of struggle. And that's where people are getting it wrong these days.
Yeah. It's I think they're doing it backwards. I've watched so many people that are like, well, it was a good idea. Well, yeah, it was a good idea, but you didn't implement it the right way, or you overcomplicated it, and well, they say, well, Rob, I already have all this money invested into it. Okay, why don't you just stop and reevaluate? Oh no, we got to pour more money into it. That's not the answer.
Yeah, we're also not in a good space to make those big decisions
Mm-hmm.
until you get back right with yourself, until you get regrounded, recentered to what you're up to, who you are, what you're trying to do in the world. Then you can make powerful decisions. But trying to make a decision from that frequency, from that space, it's hit or miss on whether you're going to be happy with your answer, and you don't know till you've gone through it.
And leave your ego at the door.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like to control some things, but there are some things that are out of my control. You know, I've helped a lot of entrepreneurs with their websites, with their SEO, with their social media. The problem is I don't control Google. I don't control Facebook. You know, I don't control where their website is hosted. So even though I have some input and I can make some changes, what Google does and what Facebook does is beyond me. That's their realm, and although I am blamed for most of it, so yeah,
Yes. Well, that allowance is a big piece of it. It's like I control what I can control, but I can't control everything.
right.
And that gets really interesting when you start looking at relationships, or as you are navigating away from relationships. What is yours to control, and what you can't do for somebody else? It's a extreme waste of energy to be mentally reprocessing and going over something that somebody else did or didn't do or should have done, or you wish they would, or don't understand why they didn't. That's a huge waste of energy. And then that gets combined with the overwhelm and confusion that you're talking about in business. You add that business piece with the relationship piece, whether it's a partner or of any kind, a client, and then it just continues on this downward spiral.
So how do people get a hold of you?
Well, great question. The nice thing with a name like Inochovsky, I'm the only Krista Inochovsky on social media, so you can find me on Facebook. I have a professional page with my full name there, LinkedIn as well. And then my website is KristaInochovsky.com. And then from there, I'll be happy to share my Expand Your Life, the newer website that's leading people to the masterclass. I do have these master classes I do periodically that are free, the Ignite Your Desire on Fire, which I'd love to invite any of your listeners to attend. So if you just connect with me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn, I'll be happy to connect and share that with you.
You know, and if you're watching it on YouTube, I'll have the links below, and you'll know how to spell my name and Krista's name, and because you know I get it butchered all the time, so I just roll with it. But any last words you wanna share with the audience?
Well, I want to say thank you so much for having me on and for having this conversation. I think it's an important one. I feel a lot of people are in that space of the struggle, of the overwhelm, of the frustration, and are losing to no fault of their own, or have lost track of the joy and the desire and what makes life fun and being in business fun.
Right.
And that's, to me, that's the most important thing. And when we can get into that energy and connect with who we're meant to be and how we're meant to serve and being the truest version of ourselves, that's when we make the biggest impact. We enjoy what we're doing. The people around us enjoy us. You don't want to be that pain in the neck person or partner that's like, oh, here he comes again.
Yeah.
Right? We want to be that truest version of you, and then things flow. And so I just invite everyone to to look at that, what I kind of consider the bottom half, the piece that's you. It's not always about strategy, not always about business. You got to come back to center, understand what that is, and develop a really strong, beautiful relationship with yourself and source.
Right.
And then from there, the business that you're wanting to create will flow.
And I think that we have to do it for a purpose, not just for our wants or needs. It's for our families and like I said, I've been doing this for 25 years, longer than that. And if it wasn't for my family to drive me to continue to do this, I probably would be living in a shed somewhere or in a cave, because I wouldn't care. But having that driving force behind you, really helps. And I think that if those that are out there that are entrepreneurs that maybe don't have a support system, get some friends, get somebody out there that can help you, can motivate you, and tell you how things are going to work out better. Because I know a lot of you out there that you just don't have that, and I think it's really needed today.
Yeah. And actually, I do my work in small groups, so that it's not just me, it's about them creating and connecting with one another. And now you have this tight group of other entrepreneurs that are supporting each other in a variety of ways. And so that's another really great reason to get to connect in, because then you get connected through me and my work with people that are just meant to be in your life.
Well, and then now you're accountable for them or to them, and it makes life, I think, so much easier because you got that support team. Yes. So anybody listening, please go over to Krista's website and, or find her on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram. And I'm not a big TikToker, so you can't find me there. I only know
I do
one
the
dance.
Occasional TikTok with my daughter and post it on Instagram, but I do not get on TikTok.
Yeah.
But hey, we dance, so
I know
TikToking with a
I know one dance, and so I don't think it's TikTok worthy. So, but everybody can find me on LinkedIn and Facebook. But we can go on and on and on and talk about all the great things that people can do. But the first thing they need to do is take action. Contact Krista or contact me, and I'll put you in contact with Krista. And I just want to say thank you guys for listening, and gals. And
thank you.
Thank you, Krista, for being here. And this is what makes Krista an e-hero, is she's always, evolving to help others. And that's the whole goal of being an entrepreneur. So, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.